Thank you. Nice to be here. Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Velasquez, and members of the committee, it's good to come before you today to talk about this broader challenge. I know we haven't always agreed on the best way to advance this objective of helping small businesses, but we've had to make some compromises to get things done. But I know we all share that basic objective of looking for ways we can make it easier for small businesses to expand and to invest and to hire. Now, as you both said, this financial crisis took a very heavy toll on small businesses and American workers. In the month the President took office, job losses peaked at about 820,000, and the recession ultimately claimed more than 9 million jobs. Our efforts over the past 2.5 years have helped restore economic growth. The President righted the ship, put out the fire, and we've now seen 15 straight months of private sector job growth. More than 2 million Americans have gone back to work over that period, 1 million within the last 6 months alone. But of course, even as economic growth continues, we continue to face very substantial economic challenges. And in order to help strengthen this recovery, help get more Americans back to work, we need to continue to find ways to help small businesses. As you all know, half of the workforce of this country is employed by companies with fewer than 500 employees. Now, the recession hit small businesses especially hard, and that's for two reasons. The first is that is because so much of the recession was concentrated in construction, and small businesses, of course, are disproportionately concentrated in the construction and real estate areas. The second reason is because small businesses were most directly affected by the contraction in credit we saw across the financial system. Small businesses are more dependent on bank loans than are large businesses, and therefore they were more affected by the pressures we saw on small banks across the country, and they were more affected by the withdrawal of credit for loans backed by real estate, and of course the broader contraction in credit card lending. Now, in view of these challenges, we worked with Congress over the past couple of years to implement a series of programs. I want to describe briefly and summarize briefly the basic elements of that strategy. The first was to provide a significant amount of additional tax relief targeted at small businesses. We've supported 17 direct specific tax credits for small businesses, many of them through the Recovery Act. Overall, these 17 specific tax breaks are estimated to save small businesses more than $50 billion over the 10 years over the classic budget window. And this means that the overall tax burden for small businesses is lower today than when the President took office. We propose in the budget some additional long-term tax relief for small businesses, which I'd be happy to describe in more detail. Second element of our strategy was to help small businesses get more access to capital, access to credit on more favorable terms. We're now implementing 2 public-private partnerships, the Small Business Lending Fund and the State Small Business Credit Initiative, which are designed to leverage government resources with the local knowledge of community banks and state credit programs. We've already approved 10 states for the State Credit Initiative, including the announcement today that Kansas will receive funding to spur more than $132 million in small business lending. Now, these capital programs are one of the most cost-effective ways we know that Congress can help encourage small business lending, because every dollar of capital that Congress provides can be leveraged to support lending that's many multiples of the government's investment. And the bank capital programs that were at the center of the government's emergency programs that began under the last administration have demonstrated the effectiveness of this approach. We've seen these broad programs, capital investment banks, yield a significant positive return to the taxpayer, and they were decisive, of course, in bringing about the overall improvement in credit conditions that the ranking member referred to. Now, as you know, in addition to these these new types of credit programs, we've, with the help of this committee, increased the SBA's 7A and 504 loan guarantee programs and permanently increased SBA loan limits. The Community Development Financial Institutions Fund continues to be a critical source for capital to reach underserved communities through a variety of programs, including the New Market Tax Credit Program. And through the Startup America Initiative and other efforts, we're looking at ways to reduce barriers to equity capital. The Chairman referred to this, which are so important for startups and other high-growth, innovative small businesses. Third piece of our strategy is about regulatory reform. The President has directed Cass Sunstein at OMB to lead a government-wide review of existing regulations so that we can eliminate or fix rules that are outdated and unjustifiably costly, and to make sure that new regulations undergo a more rigorous process of review. And of course, as part of this effort, we are going to take a close look at how we can remove unnecessary barriers and burdens to small businesses. Fourth piece of our strategy is about federal contracting opportunities for small businesses, which we are committed to work to expand. We are very pleased that a third of the Recovery Act dollars went to small businesses. We want to look for ways to do more. And finally, we are looking at ways to improve export opportunities for small businesses. As part of the President's broad national export initiative, we placed a high priority on helping small businesses access foreign markets. My testimony lays out in more detail the scope of those programs. Now, these initiatives, these programs, we believe are very important to continue to help small businesses expand, hire, and invest. We've got a lot of challenges ahead, and I want to just end by saying that it's very important that as we work towards a bipartisan, comprehensive agreement to reduce our long-term deficits, we make sure that we reach agreement on a program that is good for the economy, that does not endanger the recovery, and that helps make sure that we can remain competitive in the long run. If we meet that test, then we can help small businesses thrive as we recover. Thank you.